Okay, I think we can get going. So if you are in this call, you should be hearing my voice. Hopefully that's the case. Welcome to our Awardco Roundtable on reward, recognition, and remote work. We're excited to be chatting with you today. We're excited to hear from you today. As you're well aware, as you registered, this is a roundtable. So we're very eager in hearing of all the different experiences you are seeing and having at your own organizations in regards to remote work, recognition and remote, rewards, what's working and what's not. Just a reminder, we're here for 30 minutes. And so we need to make use of the time the best way we can. We don't have a ton of time, which is great, short and sweet. Just as a basic outline to what we're going to be doing here, we do have quite a few attendees, and we knew that going in. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make use of the breakout rooms functionality in Zoom, which will get us down into some smaller group sessions so that we can have some better discussions in one-on-one and get to know the people that we're going to be talking with. And then we're going to come back near the end, and we'll have some Awardco moderators summarize what we've been learning and get more of a general feel of what the current trends are and what people are seeing. So without further ado, let's jump right in. And I guess I should also say we are looking at providing a recording and some Spark notes of this afterwards. So we'll be sending that to you if in case you need to use that in your organization or you just like those notes yourself. Well, wonderful. I should introduce myself. I'm Sam Stroman. I've been at Awardco for 3 years, and I'm really interested in talking to you all and hearing from you about rewards and recognition and remote work. We do have a number of Awardco moderators on with us that are going to be helping that as well. Wave if you're an Awardco, folks. Yeah, there we go. Thanks to everybody who has their video on. It helps to kind of put a face to the name. Don't feel intimidated or pressured that you have to do that. I know some people prefer to be incognito, and that's okay. So if you're here, you're interested in learning, and that's awesome. We're super grateful that you are. If you're here, you're probably interested in learning what other people are doing, and you're interested in improving your organization. This is uncharted territory that we've been in for the last 18 months. I've never lived through a pandemic, and chances are nobody here has either, unless you were alive during the Spanish flu. And in that case, I want to talk to you. That sounds super interesting. But we've never been here before, and remote work has quickly risen as a major factor and force in the workforce, right? So we want to know and talk about 18 months later, how is that affecting us, and what are we seeing that works and doesn't? So you may have heard even some talk about something that people are calling the Great Resignation, right? Where a lot of our workforce has been introduced to this new way of working, and maybe it's heightened some of the deficiencies in a workforce organization. Maybe it's highlighted some preferences that they have in the way they like to work. And some people are throwing their hands up and saying, I don't want to go back to work ever again. Like this just isn't worth it. Maybe you're seeing that, maybe you're not. I think that there's a lot of things for us to solve today. So let's get into that. Let's see, what are you seeing firsthand? What lessons have you learned? How has your organization adapted, or what questions do you have for like-minded organizations? And again, before we jump out into these breakout rooms, I wanted to pepper you with these roundtables are best when people do talk, right? Hello. Not a webinar, and we are very interested in hearing what you have to say. I think there's so much knowledge and information that we have gathered here today in all the participants that we have. So don't be shy. We may call on you by name. We may ask you for feedback on specific things, but that's what you're here for. So just a gentle reminder, we're here to participate. So let's do this. Let's break out into these breakout rooms. In the next 30 seconds here, you should see a division where you'll get pulled out of this meeting, and then you'll see some screenshots start populating with new and different people. We'll give it 30 seconds or a minute to get everybody in their respective places. And then we'll just start talking. And I may end up having to shuffle some breakout rooms around. So we might need to give 30 seconds or a minute to make sure I get everybody where they need to go. And then those moderators for Awardco will take over. At about 12:20, we're going to jump back in all together, and we'll try to summarize what we've learned and the takeaways that are the best for everyone to take part in. So this is goodbye for now, but I'll see you in 15. So let me just hit these buttons here, and here we go. It's always fun to see who goes and who stays. All right. Looks like it's still assigning a few. Well, this is interesting, you guys. I think we have a little misunderstanding in how these breakout rooms worked, because I see about 50 of us in this breakout room, and I see all of our Awardco moderators in their own breakout rooms by themselves. So that's kind of interesting, right? I think what we're going to end up doing is we're going to spitball here, and I'm going to bring everybody back together, and we're going to do the harder way. We're going to have everybody chatting, if that works. So as I do this, I'm going to close these rooms and bring them back. Gotta love technology, right? So hold on. If you're seeing everybody join back into the same room, you're in the right place, so don't worry. Okay.
It's okay.
Looks like we have just a few stragglers getting put back in. Yeah, takes a little bit of time. It's often what's the word? Sobering to understand that we have technology flying around all the time, and we just take it for granted all the time. So I think that most everybody's back in. So spoiler alert, everybody. What ended up happening when we did the breakout rooms is that everybody that was in a breakout room got separated into that breakout room, and then everybody stayed in mine. So we're gonna spitball here, and we're gonna have what might be the more difficult discussion, but I think we can do it. We do have a somewhat smaller number than we had anticipated, which is great. So I'm going to couch what I'm going to say here with just a note. We're going to all have to use the mute button. Make sure that we are muted when we're talking, and then perhaps just not talk over each other. And I know that's going to be a little bit annoying at first because we do have a lot of participants. So let's do this. Let's dive in. So the first question I have for the group, for everybody is, let me look at it here. What would you say is the biggest challenge that you encountered in your organization during the last 18 months of remote work? And if you have a comment, we don't have that's a good idea. Deanne said, let's use the chat feature. So if you have if you have a response, please just raise your hand in the chat. Say, I'll go, I got it. Raise hand feature is great, and we'll call on you if that works. Maricel, if that's the way you pronounce your name, you said that achieving goals is one of the biggest challenges that you have. If you could elaborate on that, I would really appreciate it. Maricel, are you there? Maybe, maybe not. Dawn, you said here.
Yes, hi.
Okay.
And then I figured out how to raise my hand. You know what, I think it's been the lack of separation between home and work, and just an overall sense of fatigue, right? So we thought we were running a sprint, then we became a marathon. Now we don't know what it is. So.
Right. How did you guys overcome that? Or are you still dealing with that?
We're still dealing with it. We're trying to make sure that people take vacations. We're Some of our groups are experimenting with no email days or no meeting days. But by and large, the fatigue is real.
Right. Great. Elizabeth, you raised your hand as well. Similar concerns as Dawn?
Mine's a little bit different. I work at a college, and because we were still, our president was very set on ensuring that our students could still come back to campus. That meant everyone's energy and all the leadership focus was on maintaining the health and the safety of the people who were on campus. But that was about 10% of our employees, and they completely forgot about everyone else. Despite, many pleadings from people in roles like mine, in learning and development, saying we still need to do engagement, surveys. We need to check in with people. We need to do these things. And they just couldn't hear it. They were so consumed with the health and safety, obviously very important, but seemingly abandoned everyone else. And we're seeing it now. I mean, the Great Resignation is very real for us. And, I feel like now they're prepared to hear, oh, we should have been doing something, and they want to do it now, and concerned for the organization that it might be too little too late.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I guess not awesome, right? There's a challenge to overcome, but yes. In the rise of remote work, those who are face-to-face do take precedence, or they're getting priority, right? Because what you see in front of your face is easier to pay attention to than an invisible employee who's off in the ether and you only see over email, or you only see over your communication channels. Wonderful. One more here. Mitra, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing names, but
you pronounced it perfectly. Thank you.
Awesome.
Similar to what Elizabeth said, we found that, again, those people who are face-to-face or who are coming in, even though it's optional in I work for 5 different entities as their HR leader, and some of them we've allowed people to optionally come into work, and if you're fully vaccinated, you get different treatment. So it impacts the culture in a very negative way because of the inconsistencies, as you already mentioned. The face-to-face people get maybe bigger raises or a bigger annual bonus, whereas the people who, and no fault of their own, they live with someone who's at high risk for COVID or something along those lines, don't come in as much. Then they're not engaged, and they're also less likely to get a bonus or a raise. But just overall, the whole idea of recognition and rewards when you're working remotely is really difficult, and when it's not consistent. Some people remote, some people coming in full time, other people kind of doing their hybrid thing. And it's hard to tell a manager, well, you can't treat them differently even though they're not here. From an HR perspective, that's a whole can of worms as well.
Right. So for those that are participating in a recognition program of some kind, or have been trying to reach out to the remote workers with recognition, what part has recognition played in your response to remote work? Are there some things that you're doing that you think are working quite well, or maybe some challenges in that recognition? Is anybody doing it well? Maybe we're all on the phone call because we all have those challenges and we're interested in brainstorming. Just to prime the pump a little bit, obviously Awardco has a lot of clients that are trying to figure this out as well, and trying to create a consistent experience across all the remote workers that they have with recognition, because we all understand the differences in managers and managerial styles. Even when you're in person, right? Recognition can differ from team to team, and recognition can differ from manager to manager. One of our clients who was trying to tackle this worked with us on a concept called the bonus box, where as soon as remote work happened, they knew that they had to shift their priority and their focus to equipping their remote workers with supplies, with comforts, with a little bit of a message that, hey, we understand that this is going to be difficult, but we're here for you. And so their name's Go Health. They came up with this bonus box, which was essentially a remote work care package. And inside they included, the typical creature comforts, blankets and socks and things that most people could use. But, no secret, Awardco is a recognition company. We also have access to a lot of reward options through Amazon Business and others. They included some points with that to say, you know what you need best, right? You know your work environment and your home environment. You might need to just use some points to go get an air purifier, to go get a noise canceling something or other because you've got kids at home like me. And they allowed them to prioritize what they needed over, while still, I guess, maintaining a consistent experience. Are there other challenges that you've encountered then specific to recognition in remote work?
Sam, it looks like I was reading through the chats, and it seems like quite a few people are having the challenge of going through and pushing the employees that are working from home to like take a break. And so maybe we could chat on maybe some success stories that companies might have had with pushing that.
Right. Yeah, I'd love to hear them. So I guess particularly, how do we get work to stay at work when work is now in, the living room and work is in the bedroom or the office or wherever you have it? When work comes home, it's very hard to differentiate between home and work. Has anybody seen anything work? Anything that you feel like you implemented in the last 18 months that that made a difference, albeit small or large?
I've been seeing a few comments. Wilson, I'll let you go right after me. I've been seeing a few comments about no meeting Wednesdays or no meeting Fridays. And there's some saying like, we've seen success there. Personally, I haven't experienced that. I don't know if anyone who's doing that has any more comments, but that seems like an interesting idea to help with that.
Let's circle back to that because I think that's really interesting. Wilson, I saw you raised your hand, so yeah.
Yeah, one thing that I actually spoke with a couple clients about recently is, what's the recognition tied to, right? Is it tied to a metric? Is it tied to a number? Or is it related back to company values? That's an easier way to recognize people for certain things. So I was just curious if other people have seen that, have implemented something like that to increase that reach, right? And to help people feel the recognition, outside of maybe just a specific number or metric.
Right. Awesome. Dawn, thanks for chiming in again.
Sure. I won't dominate, I promise. So I have people in the Netherlands, Belgium, United States, and as it
This Renee.
don't know who that is. So we're fairly, and we're a global company that we work for, and
coming back.
I feel like somebody else is trying to talk. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, you're good. We just had a little bit of muting issue, but you go ahead, Dawn.
Okay. So one of the things that influenced me earlier on in my career was an article by Stephen Covey, not the father one, but his son. Mm-hmm. And it was the leading in the knowledge worker age. And it talked about how we really have to appeal to the whole person, because industrial age thinking is that you work from 9 to 5, you leave your job at your job, your home is your home, and they're separate. And I thought this was a game changer. So some of the things that were mentioned in there is that when people come to work, they're bringing not just their work persona, but they're bringing, their spiritual persona, they're bringing their personality, they're bringing a lot, there's a whole person there. And if you work with that whole person and appreciate the fact that they're not going to leave their home stuff at home, it's going to take up some of their headspace, that can make a really big difference. So I feel like a lot of the tenets of that article and that philosophy have really been in full effect for us this year. And with my team, what I do is I say, look, you know what you have to get done. Get it done when you need to get it done by. And if you need to take off in the middle of the day, take off in the middle of the day. If you need to go, do something with your kids, do something with your kids. So what we've adopted, and it's not just me, it's really company-wide, I think, is this additional spirit of flexibility. So I know one of the people in the Netherlands, she's got 2 twin girls and they're young. And if they're home from school, guess what? She's not getting much done. So she'll sometimes work at 10 o'clock at night, her time, because she said that's when it's quiet and she can get things done and it makes her feel calmer. So we've just really tried to adapt to everything. So I think we've kind of lost the confines of, structured hours during the day. And it's just, work when you have to work, collaborate with who you have to collaborate, and get done what you need to get done.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen that as well. And I think it's really interesting as the line between work-life balance dissolves, and we understand that there is no such thing as work-life balance. There's just life, right?
Yeah.
There's finding balance in life. I feel like employees have gotten that, and we've all felt that. Sometimes leadership doesn't feel the same, or there are other considerations of, well, if we give them free reign, they're going to rule the roost, and we won't be able to know what they're working on. And so I'd love to hear some thoughts on how to perhaps sell this life balance to executives who might be a little leery on, if their butt's not in the seat from 8 to 5, then we're not getting what we want. Bryce, you had a comment.
Yeah, I was just going to say that everybody wants to be recognized differently. Like, not everybody or every team is the same. So here at Blue Fire Leads, one time I had an idea, was like, hey, if we meet these goals, we can all go to an escape room. This will be great. And some people were like, not really interested in that. So if we would have kept going with that idea, my idea, I would have been excited about that, right? They reach their goals, we all go and we celebrate, we go to an escape room, we have fun. But if the team or the individual, if they're like, this isn't really how I want to be recognized, then really it's not going to motivate them or really build that culture that you want to build in your company.
Yeah, for sure. So what I'm hearing there is flexibility and recognition, right? No two people are the same. And I think we've all received I use this example a lot. We all have that well-meaning relative who sends us a gift card to Red Lobster every year for our birthday, and they don't know that we're allergic to shellfish, right? It's the thought that counts, but it's like, I'll find somebody to use it. How often are we recognizing people in a way that they don't feel the value that we are hoping for? And just to follow that up, there are worse things than having no recognition. And the worst thing is wasted recognition, spending a lot of money on recognition that doesn't do what you want it to do. Mitra, did any of that hit home for you?
All hits home for me. As I said before, I work with 5 different organizations, and they're all different. So you not only have to be flexible within each organization, but you have to look at each organization separately, or each maybe department. Some of you, I'm sure, work with larger companies that have numerous departments or different business units, for example. It's tough. The flexibility is really tough. The burnout at home. Someone I saw in the chat put that they feel more like they're not working from home, but living at work. And that goes back to what we were just talking about a minute ago. When I originally raised my hand, it was about setting those healthy boundaries at home when you're working remote, yet still having managers who feel like, well, you got to be in front of your computer from 8 to 5 every day. And there aren't any great solutions, because in most of our organizations, we need to work as a team. We're not individual contributors, and working as a team is so much harder via Zoom. The same technical difficulties we had this morning with this program, you deal with every time you're on Zoom. And it's definitely a lot harder to be productive. But to answer your specific question on how do we sell it to managers to be flexible, I use data. Data really proves that giving extra time off, especially in a time of uncertainty like this, does increase productivity. That it's counterintuitive, but requiring people to be at their desks from 8 to 5 every single day, Monday through Friday, is not the way to get better performance. And the other solutions people come up with, no meeting certain days, but maybe a certain day is a day of collaboration across the board. So everybody does on that day have to be available for phone calls and Zoom calls, even if they're last minute, to collaborate. Those are some of the things that have worked for us, but nothing works for everyone, and nothing works for every organization.
Right. I'm really interested in how we encourage that work-life balance, or at the very least, balance in life through recognition. I'd be interested to hear, has anybody seen or heard or experienced a recognition of someone saying they didn't work late and they're getting recognized for it? Because I think that's interesting, that there's somewhat a form of, some people will call it toxic positivity, where you're giving people kudos for behavior you actually don't want to encourage, right? I think it would be really interesting to encourage that. And I know that everybody has seen the recognitions of, Dave, Tom, Susan, they stayed late till 9 o'clock on a Friday and they really kicked butt on this presentation and they get recognized for it. And then subliminally, everyone in the organization sees, oh, you get recognized when you stay late. You get recognized when you go outside of your normal, hours. And that's what this company wants. So therefore, I'm not going to have a boundary. I'm just going to do whatever, whenever. Any thoughts on how we combat that? And have you seen that? Has anybody seen a positive reaction or recognition to this person gets what they need to get done during the workday? I apologies for names again. Maricel, you raise your hand.
Yes, hello, nice
Hi.
meeting you. Actually, I had mic problems on. I'm from Panama, and actually, I'm in partner with my husband, and he's associate with me in our business. And actually, he gave me very good recognition when I do not work late at night or on Fridays or afternoons or Saturdays or even Sundays. So it is actually it's helping me to cope with the stress of the digital transformation that we are living in work right now. I have a like 100% transformation of my business because of the pandemic time. So I have had that positive recognition and it has helped me a lot.
Fantastic. That's awesome. That's the only experience or example I've heard, and it's something we should probably emulate more often. So a trend, or I guess the takeaway there is what Wilson mentioned earlier, is making sure that the recognition that you are giving out is reinforcing a behavior that you actually want. And maybe the initial conversation to start there in any organization is, what behaviors do we actually want to reinforce? Why are we recognizing people? And do we have a purpose for that recognition? If it's just to say thank you and good job, that is light years above a lot of organizations. So we're not poo-pooing that. That's a great thing to do. But how much more powerful is a recognition when it is tied to a specific value, purpose, or behavior? I think that's something to take away here. Technical issues notwithstanding, I am really, really surprised that it's already 12:28 my time. And I don't feel like we dove as deep as we could. We've barely scratched the surface. And so what I would like to propose we do is we are going to be sending out a link after this, probably tomorrow. And we'd love to include some resources specifically about the things that were talked about today, to dive a little bit deeper into how to reinforce work-life balance, how to recognize remotely, and some of the other challenges that we've mentioned, because like I said, we only have 2 more minutes. I don't think we're going to crack that nut. But in the interest of just saying thank you again to you all, technical issues notwithstanding, thank you. We are looking at doing roundtables every other month at Awardco. We're looking at the next one in October, and we'll be talking about another very important topic, which likely will be service awards, something that we all have experienced, I'm sure. And we'd love to see you there. And we'll get those technical issues worked out by then, so we can have a little bit closer group dynamic in the roundtable. So thank you so much. We appreciate you joining, and we hope the rest of your day goes super well. See you later.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you.